What just happened in Formula One is so insane that even people inside the paddock are stunned. Max Verstappen has just blown up the entire paddock after admitting something nobody expected following the Brazilian Grand Prix. And the detail he revealed completely changes the way everyone is reading the drama with George Russell. Verstappen finally opened up about that controversial moment that turned into ammunition against him inside the paddock. That late move, that touch on the Mercedes, whether calculated or not, came after a whole sequence of mistakes, confusing team messages, and a tire decision that left him totally exposed. But now he's admitted something that's adding even more fuel to the fire, especially because his confession doesn't match the version Red Bull has been pushing. In the original explanation, everything seemed simple. Verstappen took the blame, accepted the 10-second penalty and the 3 points on his super license. But now, speaking to Dutch media, he just threw everything wide open. He said the problem wasn't the touch on Russell, the real problem was mental. And in his own words, all the signals went red. That wasn't random phrasing. He basically admitted he went past the limit, and that sentence has been circulating among engineers, team bosses, and rival drivers like wildfire. And when he reveals that he only went back on the throttle right as Russell was coming through, because he wouldn't accept being disappointed with himself, he practically confirms exactly what the FIA suspected. It wasn't an accident. It was the perfect storm of frustration and impulse. That type of confession in any other era of Formula One would have turned into a legal investigation. And it gets worse. Max said he will never repeat this next year. And that sentence landed badly, very badly. But the craziness doesn't stop there, because McLaren just stunned the entire paddock with an announcement that changes the tone of the championship and puts a very clear ultimatum in the title fight. And Lando Norris' reaction made a lot of people uncomfortable. Something big is happening behind the scenes. Lando Norris, who just weeks ago looked emotionally unstable, has now confirmed an internal shift that McLaren itself is using as a banner to close out the season. Norris, who dropped more than 30 points behind Piastri after that mechanical failure in the Netherlands, now speaks like someone who forced a comeback entirely on his own. He won in Mexico, he won in Brazil, he dominated São Paulo in the sprint, he finished second in the United States. He built momentum, created a gap, and not only took the championship lead back, he pushed McLaren into a very uncomfortable position. Either the team seals the title with him now, or they risk throwing away a historic chance to crown the first British champion since Jenson Button in 2009. Norris revealed that his emotions just shut off. McLaren believes this colder, more calculated mindset is the key to avoiding the same mistakes he made earlier in the season. Mistakes he himself admitted, like calling himself useless after hitting the wall in Saudi Arabia, or when he threw away the race to Piastri in Bahrain. But there's a bigger implication. If Norris performs better emotionally frozen, McLaren will build the rest of the year around that version of him. And that puts Oscar in an uncomfortable spotlight. There's another piece nobody is talking about. McLaren admitted that Norris's turning point started right after the Dutch GP retirement. That mechanical DNF triggered a full shakeup inside the technical department, caused heavy internal pressure, and most importantly, changed how the team manages their drivers emotionally. That explains why Norris looks so light and calm in public, while Piastri has been showing the opposite lately. Tension, fatigue, inconsistency, nothing like the strong form he had earlier in the year. But then came the real bomb. Formula One was hit with a scandal nobody expected. French police opened an official investigation after a suspicious break-in at the old Alpine engine headquarters. And the first details point towards something serious, a potential case of industrial espionage, and the leaked details make everything even more explosive. The building in Viry-Châtillon, which for almost 50 years was the beating heart of Renault's Formula One and engine division, was breached in the middle of the night. 2 people got in through the main entrance, went straight to the upper floor where the executive offices are. The exact area where any sensitive information would be stored. Authorities have already confirmed this was not random. Whoever got in knew exactly where to go. And here comes the strangest part. Nothing was stolen. No computers, No hard drives, no engine components, no documents, but the doors were left open. Police suspect this wasn't the work of amateurs or regular burglars. This has the exact signature of someone who wanted access, not objects. And that places Alpine at the center of a potential espionage operation that could shake the paddock, especially considering the controversial decisions the team has taken in the last weeks. The context makes everything worse. Alpine is going through one of the biggest internal crises in its history. The factory in Viry is no longer an engine development hub. It's now just a generic engineering base. This decision was pushed by Flavio Briatore, who convinced the team to abandon engine manufacturer status and become a Mercedes customer from next season. The shock inside the team was so big that several staff members openly expressed dissatisfaction. And the most dangerous element is timing. Transitioning from an in-house engine to a customer engine involves confidential projects, sensitive data, internal diagrams, and information any rival would kill for. Alpine is more vulnerable now than ever, and that vulnerability, combined with the historical weight of Viry, the place that built the first turbo-winning engine, the engines that powered Williams, Benetton, Red Bull, and Renault to titles, makes this break-in much bigger than a simple break-in. Meanwhile, Ferrari has just thrown gasoline on a fire that was already out of control. John Elkann, the president of Ferrari, made such a brutal statement about Lewis Hamilton that the entire paddock froze. And the question blowing up behind the scenes is extremely uncomfortable. Did Ferrari spend $2.5 million per weekend on a driver that the president now publicly doubts? Elkann's comments were not a slip. They were a direct shot at Hamilton and Leclerc. Talk less, drive more. And the way he said it felt like a public trapdoor opening under his own drivers. A move that exposed Ferrari's internal chaos to a level that few people imagined was this bad. The reaction came fast. Guenther Steiner absolutely destroyed Elkann's comments. For him, the president showed terrible leadership, threw his drivers into the fire, protected everyone else, and dumped all the blame on Hamilton and Leclerc. And the craziest part? Elkann didn't say a single word about Frederic Vasseur. Not one criticism, not one mention of technical leadership, just the drivers. Ferrari entered the year promising a title fight. Now they're sitting fourth in the championship with back-to-back disasters, a double DNF in Brazil, and a car that's simply fast enough. In a weekend with 58 points available, Ferrari left with 6. And in the middle of this collapse, Elkann decided to publicly drag Hamilton, suggesting he isn't delivering at the required level. Then came the comment that detonated everything. Robert Dornbos said Hamilton is costing Ferrari $2.5 million per weekend and giving nothing in return. That line hit the team like a bomb, especially considering it was Elkann himself who approved the signing. The same Elkann who now hints that maybe the team chose wrong. Jenson Button jumped into the discussion and basically told Elkann to look in the mirror. Karan Chandhok was even more blunt. The car isn't fast. The drivers are not the problem.